3, 4, you're going live. Hello and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And I'm glad to be here tonight with all of yous. I tell you, it's a great day in the Milky Way because my guest host tonight is Smokin G Sharp. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Robert. This is a real thrill for me.
Well, you know, the thing is you're like the ghost in the closet there. You're like this hidden gem I found out. And yes, I'm not kidding. Yeah, a hidden gem. I'm like, you know, I seen you in the chat room a little bit. I didn't really realize that you had a channel. And then all of a sudden you're on A7 and then you're in the chat. I'm like, I got to check her out. And next thing you know, I'm like, you have a fantastic channel. You got all kinds of stuff going on there. You're talking about news and you're talking about things in the world and you're, you know, person in the world around you. And you're doing tarot card reading. You're doing it all. And nobody knows. Teresa Dionton's in the house. She's been hiding you. And Lori from Pure Love Ascension, thank you for coming. I enjoyed your show last night. And Lucky Smith is in the house. I hope I want to thank him for the affirmations that this comes out put together from what I said the other night, which is great. And then on your show, you got music going on, you got information, you got things, you're talking to people. It's great. You had Teresa and Lori on the other night, which was awesome. Very awesome. Yes.
That was very, very cool. Yeah.
I know I managed to catch you on that one because, you know, I don't know why YouTube didn't send me the notification, but I put the note and then I did the thing and it never sent me a notification. And I was lucky I was putting up my show and then I seen it and I was like, okay, Robert, great.
You're not the only one. I've had many people say, I got the notification 35 minutes later. I don't know if I'm tagged or if I'm just too small for YouTube to care. I don't know.
You know, the thing is sometimes it's the content in certain ways that they don't push out there, you know, because I noticed you did stuff with the news and like I'll talk about news, but I try to do it in a very hidden way. And if you have watched my show in any sort of way, you'll know I try to hide what's out there by going through the back door, not that kind of back door, but the back door of history. Yes. Because history repeats itself. So we could talk all day about history and then just refer it to today. But and nobody, you know, if you're listening, you can hear the gems inside of that.
That's right.
But if I talk about, you know who over there in a big US, you know where, that it is painted red, they will flag us down, you know. And if we talk about the big T man, you know what's going to happen there. They'll be like, poo-poo on him. So we don't talk about that. We talk about other things like, what would happen? And, you know, and how did it happen before when somebody did that? Or how does this come about? Let's just not mention names, but what would happen? Let's inspire people by making them think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I do kind of come out with my opinions.
Yes.
And I should probably do what I call the 1960s Mr. Tambourine Man talk. You know, the little coded messages.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I'm possibly, you know, like I said, a bit of a what do they call it? Sunken channel because of my content. Well, because I challenged them. Yes. You know, back in around 2006 is when I feel I started waking up. That's when I decided that the moon landings, 1969 through 73, were definitely Kubrick fakos. You know, up until then, I got to tell you, Robert, I was born and raised in the Star Trek 60s. And I was indoctrinated to believe all of this. And it broke my heart when I found out that it's just not real. And I guess part of my recovery with that is to come out and say, aha, you lied to us. And I feel if I can get a few people to realize if they lied that big, about the moon landings. Can you imagine how big they're lying to us right now about other things?
Mm-hmm. And some of that's where I got today's title from. Is your beliefs, or I was telling you about, we were going to talk about your beliefs, your instilled beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I believe what I believe? Why do you believe what you believe? Can you give me the big, why do you believe what you believe?
Well, of course, it starts with our parents, because
Yes.
this is where we learn our trusting connection with others.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn by watching what they do, say, and think. And then that's our foundation. And that one's a real hard one to get rid of.
Yeah.
But then, we go to school, we are, connecting and challenged by our peers in school to, what, you think that, therefore you're not in our group. And boy, that's devastating to a high schooler.
Oh, it is
so yeah,
and that's where those cliques get formed.
Oh, yeah.
These people over here and those kids over there and those over there, and you got the jocks and the chicks and the nerds and the losers, and and then everybody's got a label on their forehead, and it's like, oh, that guy's wacko, he thinks the world is flat, that guy thinks the moon landings weren't, the teacher said so. Well, the teacher is putting down on paper what they give her, and then she's to teach by that standard.
No, this is very generational. That teacher was totally indoctrinated into the system as well. Yeah. This is what, this is how I think we are building our reality, because we do build our own reality here. Mm-hmm. But it is very constrained, and the whomevers is what I call them. You put the labels, the whomevers are really constraining us, and we really want to break out. And that's what I think part of the struggle is going on here, is that we want to loosen that belt to expand, and they don't want it, because then they lose control of the narrative.
Yeah, well, they do. They lose control of the narrative, and they know I think the controllers, whoever control it, I don't know who they are, I can't put a label on it, but they think that we're too ignorant and stupid to really understand the world that we live in. Yep. So they instill us with certain beliefs, thoughts, ideas that they think we should have, and then we get those, and then we follow a script that they put out. So to give you an example, and we'll go back. First, I'm going to go give you this example with the schooling. Now, when I was in school, I was in the Catholic religion too. So, we're being indoctrinated on both ends. And one of my teachers, who was a science teacher of all people, the science teacher who taught biology and science and all that good stuff, he also went to the church, and he also taught the catechism class, right?
Sure.
And so, I got to that age where here I am in the, hey, blah, blah, blah. So when he's in school, he says, we were all created from a little amoeba and a cell, and we grew up into, monkeys, and then monkeys develop into humans. And here's the test. Now, follow the thing, right? Okay, so we did. And then all of a sudden I go across the street to the church, go in the basement, we're in the catechism class, and he says, now there's Adam and Eve, and Adam and Eve had, Cain and Abel and blah, blah, blah. And then we populated from there. And I says, but, just a couple of days ago, you told us we came from amoebas.
Boy, he's a very conflicting soul. He had two religions going on there. And that's where I came out of. I popped out of the 60s Star Trek religion of scientism, where science answered everything. And it did alienate me from my God. I do, it pushed, I was just thinking we were a happenstance out of the, the pool of, what little amoebas or, yes, I bought all of that, Robert. Yes. I was just like, oh no. And where I've come full 180 at least is, that yes, indeed, this is too perfect to be a Big Bang, and I try to show that in my show. This plane that we're on, this realm that we're in, is too perfect for it just to be a coincidence that we just have. We are an intentional creation, and I'm just not blind, as you know, the other stuff. If you watched a few of my past videos, I'm not, but I don't want to go too deep with that because that really rattles people sometimes.
Yeah.
But just sticking on right now with things like the moon landing. If I can share a screen.
You bet. If I have to I can give you share permission here. Hang on a second.
I just pulled out a couple of, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me see here.
Speaking of that some of our biggest beliefs are like the moon landing. We seen it on TV, and our parents seen it, and then we had to believe it because it was there. Why would they lie to everybody? There's bigger intentions behind it. It's like, I work in the oil industry, right? And it's fossil fuels. Where did they come up with that? Is it really fossil fuels?
I'm sorry, I can't share here. I apologize.
Hang on a second. I thought I gave multiple. Okay.
It might be me. I have to tell the audience I have not used Zoom for a very long time.
Oh, okay. Well, when you go to Zoom, you have to pull it up first. Pull it up on your screen.
I'm trying. Yes, it's on the desktop. Yes.
Okay.
It wants to know Chrome. That's what it's asking right now.
Oh, you got a different system. Okay.
Yeah.
Just fiddle with it for a bit. I'll hold on. I'm going to say hi. While you're doing that, I'm going to say hi to all the wonderful people in our audience tonight. We got Desert Rose, Elderberries in the house. We got Teresa D'Anton, who's joining us. I hope she's doing all right way over on the East Coast. We got Lori from Pure Love Ascension and Grandpa Brian. And I think, Grandpa Brian, can you give me an update on what's going on at the farm there? And with the gathering, I should say. Paul from Newcastle is in the house. We got Lucky Stone, and we got Pearl Jones. I hope you sent me, Pearl, that you sent me out that wand, because I'm getting my wizard's costume ready, and I need a wand, and the Skull Buddy will really help too.
Nice. So I'm sorry, everybody. I cannot share at this time.
Oh,
I'll try to work it out. Hopefully, Robert will have me come back sometime, and I'll be glad to. But yeah, it's just not grabbing my Chrome.
I got Chrome too. I don't know why I wouldn't do that.
I know it might be me. I'm sorry.
Is it something I can look up real quick, or?
I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's just. But everyone gets the gist that they're shoving all this stuff in the news right now about how we do this on Mars and how we snap pictures of Jupiter and all of that good stuff. And I don't buy it. I'm just going to tell y'all, I don't buy it. Mm-hmm. Technically, they cannot send signals through a void space unless they've got some real fancy alien technology that we don't know about.
Well, and see, that was another thing when we were talking. I talked with my buddy about that one day, and we were talking about how fast radio waves travel, right? Yeah. And then we were talking, okay, it's 250 million miles or 250,000 miles or whatever it is between the Earth and the moon, right? And you're talking back and forth, and it's like, hey, we have a hard time taking the radio and talking to our neighbor 10 miles down the road.
Yep.
And if I'm on a mountain and I want to talk to you, I should get really good signal, but I still can only go about 10 miles. And then a radio station putting out 50,000 watts from WWCOW, is 50,000 watts of pure power. Yeah. And what did they go? 50, 60, 100 miles, 200 miles, maybe.
Yep.
So now you're sitting at the base at NASA. Just let's mind create here. We're sitting at the base at NASA. And we got 50,000 watts of power. And then after that, you're going to just start yelling.
I know. Hand them all megaphones. Hurry. Yeah. No, it's so true. See, our communications bounce off the atmosphere and back down.
Yes.
And satellites are just a fancier version of that.
Yeah.
The satellites, and there is no way they can transmit, especially they're going to operate a Mars rover that runs on what? Solar panels on Mars? Come on. Mars is like 300,000 miles away from the sun, further than us. And those solar panels are going to work for years and years.
300 million with a million.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know how many, but you get the gist.
Yes.
It's not practical, feasible. It does not need physics.
Yeah.
And I'm not a physicist, at all. I claim Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing.
Yes. Well, and that's exactly it. Hang on. I got this one, everybody. Okay.
Wait, Grandpa Brian is tripping on shrooms.
Oh boy.
Is that the
here we go. Yeah. We'll Google it. Mars from the sun is 135,000.49 million miles away.
Yeah.
So
and Jupiter's 460, and in today's news they got new pictures.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But come on. I'm still wondering how does, oh shoot, I gotta stop share there. Sorry. Anyway, I gotta wonder how that signal travels. Are they using some kind of technology we just don't know about? And that's how it's done?
Yes, and at some point, wouldn't they start spilling the beans that there's this new technology that cuts through a supposed void? And we really don't know what's on the other side, I believe, of our atmosphere. There's been a lot of speculation. They call it a empty void. Now some people speculate that if we are indeed in a dome, let's say, an encapsulated realm, there possibly could be water on the other side. We have been a very lied to civilization.
Yes.
And that is the point of my show. This is where I get cathartic, because I can get out there and say, this is not the truth. I'm so sorry that you've all went to college and spent a lot of degrees to prove us more and more about these lies, but the closer that I get to the truth, the more spiritual I've become, Robert, the more I now have become, yes, there indeed is a God, and I'm going to say he. Okay, sorry, everybody, if I'm not PC. I don't know what to do anymore in life. He has totally looked out for me. And so I'm very grateful that over the years I've come across the lies, because each time I get closer to the truth.
Well, the thing is, no one person is really going to have all the truth. No. You're going to have bits and pieces, and you put that in your bag, and then you use that so you can understand the world that you live in.
Yes.
And that makes it better. And so like why here's the thing. Why are we worried about the moon landing? What's the point of it? That's what my buddy says. Why are you so stuck on learning about this stuff? Who cares if we went to the moon or not? The thing is well, it's because it's the point of where we lied to. Did they go? First off, we have to ask ourselves, is the moon really that far away? How do you know?
And what is it really? And why? Here's my question right now. Why did they feel they had to lie to us so heavily back in the 60s and 70s? My only answer I come back around to is that at the late end of the 60s, going into the 70s, we indeed were losing the Vietnam War. Russia and China were putting the big push on the United States. So it was like a diversion, and it made us look bigger and better. And for a while, I bet you the Russians and China bought it just like we did, until they went, aha, it was Kubrick.
Well, and I think what it is, I think it was half and half. I hate to disagree with some people, but
no, that's fine.
But it's all our opinion, and my opinion is some of it was true, and some of it was faked. I think Kubrick did film moon landings and they did show that on the screen because it looked better than the real thing. And I think some of that was, real, to the point of how should I say, so they could combine it together.
Yes,
because
Yeah, that's
because
where
they,
we disagree. Yeah,
well,
we didn't go.
Because the thing is I have to ask myself, just like you said about the communications with the, can the radio wave travel that far? Well, it might not be able to travel that far, but what if the moon ain't really that far? What if the
Yeah.
moon isn't that far? And then they say, okay, so then I've studied a little more, and it says, okay, we have the Van Allen belt, right? Now the Van Allen belt moves. It kind of sways around and moves. And now the thing is at some points, that's our protective barrier, right? You know that, right? The Van Allen belt protects us from all that harmful radiation from the sun. And then they tell us, well, we can't go too far out, because if we go too far out, we'll get irradiated and we'll all die. Okay. But if the Van Allen belt was pushed a little bit here and there at a certain point, it encapsulates the moon. So if they did go, they could possibly find a window and go through the Van Allen belt and to the moon. But if they failed, that would have looked really bad. And then, so you see that part, they would have showed it anyway. They would have showed the whole thing like a movie and a TV. Did you know when they put the screen on the screen that we watched of the moon landings, right? That was a TV, and the cameraman had to film the TV.
I'm sure.
They didn't get video or raw video. Here, plug into this and you can stream. No, here's the TV. You can aim your camera at that. That's why it was all grainy and fuzzy and yucky, because they were just aiming their cameras and watching the TV.
Yeah. Well, I won't, try to dissuade people who think that, we went to the moon back then.
Yeah.
But physically and logically, and like I said, again, physics, there are guys who are way better at tearing this apart than me.
Oh, yeah.
They've proven that they couldn't have carried, number one, enough oxygen for 3 men to spend that many days outside of an atmosphere, for one. And if you look at the limb, it is just a cardboard piece of what? And then they tried to sell us that they went there with a dune buggy, and all of this. See, it just got really, at the time we were just eating it up because we were so Star Trekked out. We're going, yeah. But now really looking back at that, I do. And, here's an interesting thing. And I try to absorb as much as I can. I'm not saying this is my opinion. It's just things I pick up. Mm-hmm. There's a new channel out. Well, he's not new, but he has a new process now with talking about the moon. He was theorizing that the moon is not round, that it is like a very soft dish, concave. Mm-hmm. And that's what's giving all the direct shadows and the crescents that we see, and why it can perfectly cover the sun. Because if you took a planet and put it in front of the sun, even though if it's the perfect diameter, which is like, here again, in the primordial soup, that would be 100 billion zillion chances that would happen. So we're in a very perfect world. When the moon covers the sun, if it was a round ball, it would still have light edges, even at its most, peak of, okay. And it doesn't, it's very, very sharp. It's got like sharp edges, almost like, it's true, like if it was a concave plate dish.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of theories of what it really is.
Well, I know. And that's why I think it's so not as far away as we think it is because one guy did the math on it. And he said, when there's an eclipse and, the eclipse only hits certain parts of the earth or whatever. And like you said, you look up and the moon is exactly the right spot to cover the sun by so much, you know what I mean? To black it all out. And he says, that means the size of the moon, and he times it all out with a bunch of mathematics. And he says, that means the moon would have to be like 75 miles away.
Yeah, it very well could be. Yes. And there's the other theory, it's not as far. I was just reading Teresa. She crawled through the limb at the DC Museum and it's not cardboard. Well, no, that's, I guess that was kind of an exaggeration. However, though, Teresa, if you really looked at that, could it stand the G-force that it was experiencing taking off from a capsule, not even a real rock, just a little capsule? It took off, landed on the moon, and then part of it came back. these guys have torn it apart that it's not feasible. It's against physics that it would have survived that with two men and a go-kart. Let's not forget that.
And a go-kart, yes.
You know,
you know what gets me is, those astronauts, they wore a camera. I watched this. They wore this camera on their chest, right? Mm-hmm. And they filmed it. And that's the film that we see them bouncing up and down and doing all these things. And I'm thinking, if I'm wearing a camera on my chest, you're going to have really grainy, horrible pictures because I'm bouncing up and down like this. You're not going to have a good picture.
There again, a little perfection there. The last thing I'll say in my we didn't go to the moon defense. and if you want to hold that, people, God bless you. I'm not trying to, start anything. Is the light lux. They had men and women, I'll throw in there, but they had really intelligent people look at this. Now, when you go out at night and it's a nice bright moon, full, half full, it puts off a really nice moonlight. Mm-hmm. It has some really nice lux to the point where it creates a shadow. Now, if it is 186,000 miles away, okay, shooting such a nice bright light, if you were standing on the moon, that lux would be so bright, not even the best, polarized covered shade over your mask would prevent you from going blind.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. The lighting was off, people. If you were standing on the moon, it is brighter than anything. You couldn't even imagine how bright. And those cameras that caught these perfect pictures would just be washed out. So there's my last defense of
what I would suggest for everybody is, and it's not, these are our opinions and what we've found. And the big thing is like, I always think, if you question it at all, even a little bit, go out and take a look at it, do the work, study it a little bit, look up some things, look up the good and the people who are saying it's true, and then look up the people that are saying it's not so true, and then question it, and then decide from your heart what you think is the best.
Excellent, Robert. No, that's very much and please, if you do decide to do some research, just Google here in YouTube and go to some of these guys' channels. They have they lay it out, better than, anybody from Yale.
Oh yeah.
They're just phenomenal in how they show you that, for instance, the last thing I discussed with light lux, it's not feasible because they study light lux. And so anyway, yeah. And if I can get people to just start questioning these things, they'll see the bigger lies that we've been told all throughout, at least my lifetime so far. We've been told some real whoppers.
Oh yeah. And then the thing is in the end, we find out, oh yeah, you were lied to. World War II, here's a good one. We're coming up on maybe another one of those world wars. And in World War II, Germany, would they bomb their own place and then blame it on somebody? And then they say, hey, blah, 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 we got to start a thing with them. And then, and that started. How about like Pearl Harbor? Oh, we got to go to war with the Japanese. No. They were hee-hawing on it. And all of a sudden, here comes the planes. And now you read about all these things where the guy, the Japanese guy was going there saying, hey, let's do this or that. Nope, the planes are on their way. And nobody wanted to hear from the guy who says, they're coming. Disregard that message, kind of thing. And then they came and it was like, oh, it's such a big surprise. They needed that. The government knew they were coming and they needed that propaganda to get the people fired up.
Pearl Harbor was the best thing that happened to the United Nations.
Yes. It's just like it, and they use a catastrophe to change things. 9/11. What happened after that? Well, now you got to take your shoes off at the airport. They got to scan you. Everybody's a bad man. Grandma, we got to put her hand down there. Check her diaper in case she might be hiding a pair of nail clippers or something. Come on, really?
Yeah, no, true. And I have to say, now we're at the point where I don't think we're going to be doing much flying at all, it looks like, in our future. And if we do, it's going to be very short and regional. That's one of my predictions, that we're not going to have these long distance 737 flights so much as you're going to go more smaller regional flying. And it's just going to, I mean, I told my friend many years ago that they're going to have us strip down and get into little paper jumpsuits, you know what I'm saying, with those orange clogs. And that's how you're going to get on an airplane and off. And then you can, they're just going to get to that extreme.
I know. Ain't that crazy? But it's all coming, and I don't know what, it's slowly coming. And by informing ourselves of the fakeness, we can see through it. Christy Schaefer's in the house. Thank you for coming. I haven't seen her in a while. She says, what matters if we went and landed? How we are going to make better planet for all. Just talking 2 years after the Barnett show. And she's right. She's right.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why it matters is because NASA gets $52 million a month easily. Follow the money. It's a FACO show. The only rockets that really work are built in a swimming pool for your pleasure and watching in CGI. And that's what we're really paying for. So where's all that other money going to? See, you can go down a deeper rabbit hole with all of this. But yeah, NASA built a lie, and they live upon it now. And so that's where I'm at, why it matters. We've got to find out the truth. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I can go with some big lies that'll really shock people, but I don't want to do that tonight. I'll just stay on but if you really watch the moon landings, and here's the other thing, Robert, we have become a more educated audience, because now you turn on the TV and you can see all of this animation and CGI at its finest, and then you go back and watch old moon landings and you go, oh, well, wait a minute now. I see the wires. I see the FACO, and if they get away with one lie, they're going to get away with 1,000, and they sure have.
Yes. And that's, you're right, is when we're informed and they say, hey, this happened. We'll just look at it. You can look at them and say, I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. I don't want to follow your new orders, because that's just dumb. Like this last one where you did the thing and people are doing this, and it's like, I know better. I look it up and I go, that's really not the best idea. I think I'll pass. I don't believe in that. And then things are happening now to those people who did get it in the arm, and it's like, and now they're saying, the only person that made tons of money during there was Dr. Fauci. Don't we just love him? He prospered. He made like $15 million that year. Ain't that wonderful that Dr. Fauci could become even richer on our behalf? Wow, I'm so proud of him, right?
Oh, that whole subject is just, oh my word.
Oh, I know.
What happened? And I'll even admit, I'll be mea culpa here. I stood back and watched it happen.
Yeah, we all did. We didn't know what could you do? Stay in your house.
Yes.
Stay undercover. Don't come out. Well, if you do
Robert,
that,
I swear, AI came up with that idea.
Yeah.
I think it did, because it just came out of the blue and worked like a charm.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Now, but fool me once, the story. So now we've got to fix a broken medical system.
So here's, my buddy wrote a song, and I'm going to play it for y'all. This is a homemade song. He makes songs. You'll all enjoy this. We won't get copywritten because this is a homemade song. And so I'm going to share it with y'all, because he predicts the future in his songs.
Nice.
And he'll be so proud of me. This is from Woofy News. And oh shoot, I gotta stop share. Hang on. I did this wrong. I gotta share screen, share sound. Yes. Okay, I did. Okay, I did that. I didn't know if I had the sound share on there because otherwise it'll come through. I've learned my lesson with that. Okay, here we go. And I don't hear any.
Someday soon, and it won't be long, you won't be singing no Christmas songs. It may not happen in 21 or 22, but by 23, it will be illegal to own a Christmas tree.
By 23, it'll be illegal to own a Christmas tree.
Just about.
Yeah, they were just talking about it. Like in England, because of the power shortage, they're not going to let anybody put lights and stuff up. And I'm thinking, oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
But it
How
is
convenient.
Yeah, isn't that convenient? Here's another someday soon. Oh yeah, here we go. We got another someday soon here. And as soon as I get this up, share this screen here. He's got a few of them, and I really like his hang on, stop talking, and yeah.
Someday soon, and it won't be long, you'll turn on a light switch, and you'll wonder what went wrong. You'll go to another, and the same will be. Then you'll realize, no electricity for me. Sure, it will come on from time to time, but it'll never be enough. They just want to keep you in line. The money that you spend on those little watts will be like a house payment without owning a lot. People cry out, solar's for me. Too bad they make you hook it up to the power grid. You're right back to where you used to be. So if you're not ready and you don't know what to do, go out and buy a candle. Maybe even two.
Did you hear that one? I hope it's up loud enough.
That was great. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some good ones. I mean, it's like, really, here we go. But it's true. All of this stuff he's talking about is absolutely true. Let's see. Oh, here he's got one in here. We predicted the Queen dying.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'll have to get that one up here in a second. Stop. Woofy News. If you want to go check out Woofy News is on Odyssey. And if you go to Odyssey, people, you can look up Woofy News. He's got all kinds of cool news stuff from the wise old history bear and the wolf and the wise old owl is on there. It's really cool. He does a good job at these. He's got a crappy old computer and he makes these up. They turn out awesome. He puts a lot of work and effort into them. Let's see if I can share this one. Okay, sound is on, share. Here we go, boys and girls.
Someday soon, and it won't be long, the people of the world will fall like trees, be deader than a log. They won't understand what's cutting them down. They'll only try to put roots a little farther in the ground. The forest will falter, but some will survive, trying to hold on to the rest of their lives. The rain will come, a little sunshine too, as they try to survive this worldwide storm. For they will stand alone in the island of nowhere. There will be no one to help them as they blow in the wind. No birds, no possums, no raccoons, my friends. The sky will turn from gray to blue. They will believe that they are winning, if only they knew.
Wow. Pretty good.
Yeah.
If only they knew.
Yeah, you could apply that to many things right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is super pliable to things. To buy a thing, maybe it's this one. Alex did the Christmas tree. This one. Oh, okay. Here, maybe this is the one. Okay. We only got a couple more of these. But I think they're kind of informative, because, and that's the whole thing. Here's what I'm trying to get through with this, though, is it's your expression, how you express. Like on your show, you show things that you want to get out and express and tell people about. Just like this guy, he's doing the same thing in a different way, and I'm doing the same thing in a different way. But if we all get out there and try to put stuff out, that's just enlightening more people, right? I because the whole world, there's a lot of people. Do you ever notice how many people are just asleep? They don't care. They go to work, they come home, they watch the football game. If the world went to shit tomorrow, they would be sitting there going, what happened? Lights ain't coming on.
Yeah. No, there is. And interestingly, I sometimes wonder if all of us have souls here.
Mm-hmm,
like
yes.
if some people here are just like what I call fillers,
mm-hmm.
or I don't know, you're right. They walk around like the zombie dead. They're into their phones. They're into their little whatever's in their life. Oh, I have to say goodnight, Teresa. Thanks for so much for coming in.
Oh, yeah, Teresa.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Teresa. A lot of times she barely makes it. Sometimes she comes in, pops in early, leaves a comment, but I appreciate, she's the hardest working gal I know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love her and Lori and the show that they're putting on. I'm learning a lot, I have to say.
Let's see. Isby is in the house. Hey, Isby, thanks for coming. We got S. Lee in the house. Cramper Rules on the side of that side of the pond. Yeah. All right. Dr. Yes.
Speaking of that, the other side of the pond, we are watching, everybody. I want to let you know we are watching. And we feel for you.
Yeah, I hope they're doing good. I know people over there. We have people watching that are over there.
Yeah.
We have people all around. The nice part about this show, we have people all around the world. Gaza Cav is in the house somewhere, and he's listening to us. And we got Paul from Newcastle. I think he's way over yonder, there on the far side. And let's see, who else do I know in here that might be? But anyway, we got people from Arizona. Well, you used to be from Oregon or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I moved from Portland, Oregon down here to Arizona.
Yes, a good move. Didn't they get a little wacky up there?
It was hard. It became hard. I'll be honest with you. My personal decision to get out of there, because I lived there for 27 years, was when I had a routine in the morning. I'd get up, fix my coffee, and then go outside to the driveway and make sure that all of my vehicle was still there. And I was doing that for many years. I mean, this, it really started like in 17, 18. And then as you've seen, it got by 2020, they were burning everything. We just said enough. We're done with this. And I see in the news currently that the mayor, is still up against the same problems with no answers for anybody. So I'll leave it there. Now I'm off my soapbox.
Well,
we love it here.
But that's true. And then you move to a better place.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of times, and I know you're not doing it. The thing is people move from one place to get out of there, and they bring their problems, their problems and their beliefs and stuff, and then they try to put it on the locals that are there.
No. We joined our tribe here in Oregon.
Yes,
I mean, in Arizona.
That is important. When you get to a place, I don't care who you are or where you are, you have to, if you want to be with the natives, you have to be in their tribe. That is exactly true.
Yeah, and it's a small community. Everyone's really mellow. And go ahead, Robert.
Oh, no, but you're right. I mean, it's all those history books that I read, and we talk about the Indians. I got my Native American Indian myths and legends with David Null on Tuesday nights. And the big thing is the Indians were wonderful, loving people. Yeah, they had some things that we don't agree with, but they were doing their thing. They were wise. Everything about them was, they were in tune with nature and how things evolved. And they believed that God was everywhere. They didn't fear him in any sort of way at all. And then as I read a few episodes back, I was reading, and here's the first white man. He come in and he's interviewing these Indians. He says, well, that can't be a religion. They don't fear their God. What kind of religion? We got to destroy that. What? This is madness. What savages are they? And I'm thinking, what? Because they lived with nature and in nature, that was wrong. You had to be part of the society. And since the white man couldn't change into their society, they had to change to ours.
Yep.
And did you know that most captive people, sure, the Indians were bad and they killed a lot of people, but when they did take captives and bring them into the tribe, most of the time, those people didn't want to go back to civilization. They wanted to stay with the Indians, but it was never the other way around, where the Indian would go to civilization and say, oh, I don't want to go back to the savages. No,
no.
He didn't. He would do whatever he could to go back home. He did. So who's having the better life? That's my question. Are we the one are we really wrong? We're wrong. How would you know if you're wrong if you're on the side that's wrong?
Yeah.
If you were in Germany in World War II, did you realize and say, we are on the bad guy's side?
No, they were indoctrinated. They believed their tribe.
Yes.
Yeah. And exactly. Is that inherent with us? Because we seem to repeat that part quite a bit, of taking over something, and you better think like me.
Yeah.
Or the royal army will come after you.
Yeah, and if you don't, you do or die. Like when they came here and we're bringing the good book. You better believe, or else. And if you don't, well, guess what you got? If you don't believe in the good book, we kill you. And now after we kill a few guys, well, who believes in this good book?
Yeah,
everybody's like, yes, the book is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was just reading about this, the chief of the Incas, and Pizarro gets there and he's telling them, about the book. And that story just sticks in my head. So the Spanish, they get there and they kill 4,000 Indians, right? And he's telling them, the book is powerful, blah, blah, blah. This is our religion, yada, yada, yada. And afterwards, the chief, he gets there and they were going to execute him, right? And they said, well, they kind of lied to him and says, well, if you swear your allegiance to the Bible and believe in the Bible and let us baptize you and all that stuff, well, we might not kill you. Well, what do you think he did? Okay, anything.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to kill me. I'll do anything to live. And then, of course, he did. And then they burned him at the stake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's coercion at its finest, But yes, we as humans seem to have done that, taken over many civilizations and crushed it and then rebuilt it in our image.
Yes.
Yes. And it's unfortunate, especially with the Native Americans, because they held on to the old stories. And that's another part that I think, I push is the meltology, the melted building idea, that there has been many advanced civilizations here. And then we hit a point, and I don't know what happens. Who knows? Either we do it to ourselves or God intervenes, who knows? But it is obliterated. And then we kind of start out again from the ashes.
Exactly. I personally think it has to be a cataclysm of some sorts.
Sure.
And, a certain amount of people do survive. And then it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm going to put you on an island. I'm going to put you in a group of people. You can pick, doctors, lawyers, engineers, hardworking people, whatever. Okay. So you say you got your group of people, and I'm going to put you on an island. It's going to be a big island, say big as England, right? That kind of big island. And on this island, I am going to give you all the things that you need, like metal and in its raw form in the ground. And I'm going to give you gold and silver, and I'm going to give you coal and oil. I'm going to give you all those things, but they're going to be in the raw form. And now you have to figure out with those engineers and people how to recreate society. And now that you're on the island and you got your your handbag with some clothes in it and, some amenities, there you go. Get started. What are you going to do first?
Well, of course, build the huts and shelter and figure out how we're going to get our next meals.
That's right. And the next meal, and how to stay warm, and what are we going to eat? You know what? Making a cell phone or a car or any of that stuff isn't really important anymore, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, all these things that we have today, from our cell phones to our, fancy lights here, to all of those things, they're not as important as the basic things: the food, water, shelter. You could have the smartest brains in the world, and if you got no tools, building that shelter and getting that food is going to be a magnificent feat. Can you imagine the first time that architect catches a animal in one of his snares, maybe that he engineered?
And they do have YouTube videos of amateur hunters. It is pretty.
And that's
pretty
the
sad.
thing. And then, oh my God, we can eat tonight. Well, you've watched Survivor and Alone or whatever, all those things. They send these people out, and man, what is the first thing they do? They lose weight. Because they're not eating like they do. They're eating a fish, and they're eating some pine needle soup or something.
Yes. And if you follow these, reality shows, as close as I can get to it, you'll see they instantly start forming that hierarchy of I do more, therefore I eat more. Mm-hmm. That all will, every sensibility of civilized behavior can go to the wayside rather quickly when people are in survival mode. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Things change really quick.
Well, yeah. And so the best people will be the guys who can build bigger, better huts, or the ones that can catch food. And then the last thing, those computers, what if you had a computer? Well, the battery went dead. We got no way to charge it. It's just a pile of junk now. Nobody's going to use it.
Everything we do right now take as a necessity in our modern civilization. Really, it can easily become a big joke if there's no power. Just simply take power away from us. You don't have to isolate us.
Yeah. So
we are so power dependent. It is just unbelievable.
Yes, it is. And the thing is, all these things that we have, all those things I named, the cell phone, the lights, all that stuff is formed because we were told to believe and that we needed it.
Yeah.
We need the basics: a house, shelter, food, the basics. But instead, you need that really good pillow. You really need 5 flashlights. You need that expensive watch, that Timex watch, or you need them Adidas shoes or the Nike Swiss shirt. You need, to have the best cell phone out there, and you need a new one every year. Keep up with things.
It's not just consumerism. It's gone beyond that. It is competitive consumerism. It's become an illness like gambling.
Yes.
I've seen some people who go into such debt, unbelievable debt to have these toys, as I call them. And that'll all go by the wayside. Just simply take away power. That's it. That's
Yes.
one little thing. And that's what I'm watching in our news today. I'm just watching, the food and power grid, because that'll be our red flags here, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. People will, when the power goes out, things will change.
Fast.
A big time. Oh yeah, because we're so dependent on it. I mean, even my little house here that I live in, I rent this place, and there's electric heater. There's the electric heater, the electric stove, the electric fan, the electric lights. Oh, there's no gas. There's no wood heat. There's no solar. There's none. If the power goes out, I'm going to freeze. I won't be able to cook anything. I won't be able to light up my house. This place is as good as just an empty shed with insulation.
Basically.
Yeah.
And at first I think that was incidental in the design, but now I think it's intentional. I think they're just trying to grid us right into the, complete control some way, somehow. We can't let the power go down and then have the community go, oh, we'll figure out how to restart power here. No. They're not gonna. The way they're designing things, we are so dependent. And we're exactly in the mousetrap, as I put it. We are exactly where they want us. And and there again, I'm just sitting here watching it happen. I wish I knew more. I wish I could do more. I tried. In my little teeny show, I just tried to put things out there so people will go, aha, they lied to us again.
Yeah, it's to make people think.
Yes,
I always say that and you're the same way. You do the work and find these things so that I don't have to. And then I'm to look at that and say, you know what? I'm going to look into that and do some work on myself, there too.
Absolutely. That's what I hope. That's my hope here. Please do your own research. You are the best judge of your reality. I always give that to people. I do know that where I'm at now is I have become way more spiritual. And I'm so grateful for that, because it has helped me. And every day, God does something for me, and I try to do something for God, and that's where I'm at. And I've become a lot happier.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And you got to be where you're happy the most. Or if you're not happy somewhere, if there's too much negative energy, that's not good. That's kind of toxic.
No, it is very toxic, Robert. And I could go on for hours about this, but yeah, our culture has put us into a position where we have to go out basically and work for others. And sometimes we are put in a situation where we're around a lot of negative and unnecessarily competitive people, and we're not here for that. We really are not. We're here to grow and design life. And you're right. Be happy in everything that you do. And if you're not, don't be afraid to change it.
Yeah. Oh, I've been reading. Oh, where is this book? This book here. I don't know if you ever heard of this book, The Explorer Race. And it's a channeled book through Zeus. He's got like bunches of them, but he says some neat stuff in there. And he says, yeah, we were put on this planet, and if it's true or not, I don't know, but it's like anything else. You got to take it with a grain of salt or sand or whatever it is. And it's kind of good. But he puts a lot of things out there, and he says, the world is only supposed to have about 2% negativity, because negativity creates creativity.
That's right. That's true.
But this world is filled up to the point of 46% negativity.
Which sucks the creativity.
Yeah, it makes a lot of people creative to a point, and then it destroys that. I mean, and it creates chaos. And that's because now you got, instead of getting 2% of people creating things, you got 46% of people creating stuff to get rid of their negativity. Because that's what, well, it's true.
I laugh because it's so true. It is. It's like, wow, that is a circle, the loop you don't want to get stuck in, but I see it clearly.
Yeah.
That's a hilarious observation. That's so true.
It is. And when I seen that, I was like, that's true. I spend like a lot of my day, and I'm trying to clear up from my insides, trying to clear up my negative thoughts. I'm trying to, because in my projection of the world, like I'll get mad. And you start thinking, wait a minute, I'm thinking negative again. Why turn this around. And we've been talking a lot on here about the way, especially I got it from Isby, or not Isby, but Lucky Smith. Isby's great too. We were going to do a show, and then he had this hurricane go through and all of that stuff. So I wish him well. And and I was on call all this week, and I was out late every night, everybody. So I'm lucky I even got shows up. but the thing is that it's the way you phrase your words. If you phrase your words wrong, you could be negatively impacting yourself, like saying to the universe one thing, and if you don't word it right, like I am not afraid, but the universe only hears it as afraid. I'm afraid. It doesn't hear the not part. So you got to phrase it like afraid, I will be powerful and fearless, kind of thing, kind of rephrase it. Or prosperity will come to me, prosperity is my friend, instead of saying I will be prosperous, or something like that.
No, I totally hear. Yes, to form our reality, it is through the word. And it says it right there in the Bible. In the beginning, there was the word. We are vibration. Absolutely. I believe totally in that. I've got several books I've been studying about, the frequency and how we phrase things. And I'm trying to be mindful, but darn it, some days you get stuck in those old phrases and isms, and I totally blew it. But
and then we projected, the rice experiment, right? And last week I kind of went on with I remembered the rice experiment. See, this is how things work. And I'm hoping other people find this important too, because like with the rice experiment is if you talk negativity into the rice, it turns all brown and moldy. So I'm going out to the garden to get some fruits and vegetables or whatever for supper, digging some potatoes and whatever I was getting. And something happened, and I was all pissed off, and I'm going out to the garden, and I get out there and I started, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm cussing at the potatoes, whoa. And I stopped, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I stopped, and I thought of happier thoughts, and I calmed myself down. And then I said, the potatoes, I was sorry. And then I said, I love you, potatoes. And I started getting this good feeling in my heart. And then I put my hands and grounded myself on the ground. And I started digging again with a new happy heart again. And I'm thinking, now my potatoes will last longer. They will make me healthier. This is what's going through my mind. I'm happy about my potatoes. I want my potatoes to do good. I love my potatoes. And I kept thinking that. And I'm like, okay, now my potatoes will be great. Versus if I went there cussing and swearing, even if it wasn't at the potatoes, it was at somebody else,
they pick it up.
I'm affecting the world around me.
Yeah.
We know that by the rice experiment. I love you, rice. I hate you, rice. Kind of. Well,
no, we do that. And we all do that on a daily basis.
Yeah. But
and then I stand there and wonder, why did I bump into the wall? Because I'm setting myself up, with something I said, or thought to walk into the wall this morning,
Oh, absolutely. So, but like it says, it's your, we started out with our beliefs, that the world gives us. And then we have this negativity and we put that out to the world, and then it bounces off and it comes back at us. And then, we're all affected, and I affect you and you affect somebody else, and they affect, and it's like a traveling chain, because we are connected individuals. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but they say that if you separate yourself from society for too long, you go a little nuts.
That makes sense. Sure.
And I was watching this one program, and they were talking about this room that's got those panels in it, and they made this room where no sound vibrates. It's a silent room. Did you ever hear about the silent room?
Yes, they've experimented with that. I get that.
And if you go in there, it'll make people crazy in a few minutes.
Yeah, because you absolutely hear nothing. It's the true nothingness. And we don't realize how much we are filtering out daily in our lives, just the noise of the car driving down the street, the dog walking into the room, the fans, the air conditioning, all of that. Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine if you were deaf? That is true. You get to experience true deafness, and it is mind-blowing. I've never done it, but yeah.
Yeah, I would like to try just to see if I could do it. I mean,
yeah,
what an
I know.
experience that would be.
I know. It's total deprivation there.
I wonder if my mind could, expand
Adjust.
or something, or adjust, or would I still hear things in my head? Like the other night. Okay, so I'm at work and I got a few minutes. It's late at night and I could sleep in my truck for about an hour. So I'm taking a power nap for about an hour. You get it. I work a lot. And so I'm sleeping in my truck, and all of a sudden I could hear horses, and they're whinnying. Like, I mean, loud whinnies. And I could hear them, and I'm like, oh, geez, trying to get some, I'm thinking in my head, I'm trying to get some rest here. I want to sleep. And here's these, and I'm like, well, where am I? I'm in the parking lot. I'm in the back. There's no horses around here. Well, maybe some horses got out of somebody. And then I'm trying to wake up. And all of a sudden I realize that I'm sleeping. And I'm like, okay, wake up. And you know what? I couldn't get my eyes to open. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed.
I've heard of that, paralyzed sleeping. Yeah.
And yet I could hear the horses, and I couldn't wake up. I tried to open my eyes, and it seemed like it was probably only seconds, but it seemed like an eternity. And then all of a sudden the phone rang, and all of a sudden like that, I could open my eyes.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
happened?
You're sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a name for that because, as maybe not you personally, you experienced horses, but a lot of people get a sense that something's hovering over them when they're in that paralysis, and they call it the witch's sleep or something like that. But yeah, that's interesting. So, well, it's nice that you caught it with the horses, because with sleep paralysis, maybe for a second you were just kind of slightly in another dimension.
Maybe.
I truly believe that we have more capability to go to those other levels, than we give ourselves credit for. And
well, the astral travel. Have you astral traveled?
I wish I could have. No, I can't. I can't do that.
I tell you, I don't know if I have or not, but I think I might have, and I know a lot of people on here have talked about astral traveling, and in the chat and stuff. And I've had this guy, if you haven't seen him, I had Preston Dennett on, who wrote a book about astral travel, and I interviewed him. And man, he tells how he learned how to do this and experience this, and how he proved that he was actually astral traveling, because he met somebody else and he went there, and that person could see him and interacted with him, and the amazing things he did while astral traveling. I thought that was really amazing. We got to do it. Ryan Serio comes on. He can astral travel really well too. So, it's possible. I think we all have the power to do it.
We do.
We just don't know. Nobody's taught us. Kind of like riding a bicycle.
No one's given us the capability of saying that's possible. But then I think too, just like we all are individual, like, you can play one musical instrument and I can play another. I think people have different talents, and some are stronger than others. Now, those who are very strong, let's say in astral projection, could do some form of teaching, but they have to find the right students that show the capability, let's say. But no, you're absolutely right, Robert. We are not given the tools. We do not even have the comprehension that these things are possible, let alone do them. And when they do happen accidentally, like some things have happened with me, I get freaked out, like, what? I've never been shown that.
Isn't that amazing how that happens? See, here's the thing. Here's what I think went wrong in this world is when you're a kid, you're taught your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, you're taught how to tie your shoe, you're taught all of these things, read and write, and then you're taught about the world and et cetera, but they're leaving out stuff because they don't want us, the controllers. I always call them the controllers.
Yeah, I call them the whomevers. Yeah.
And they don't want us to have that power, because then we would find things out. Nothing would be secret. The truth couldn't be hidden. Because, in the mystery schools and stuff, they take the children when they're really little. They don't take them when, say, hey, you're like 50. It's time for you to learn how to astral travel. Hey, it's time for you to, go to other dimensions. It's time for you to levitate, although we're at like 50 and we're going, I'd love to levitate. I'd love to astral travel. Well,
Yeah.
You know what? But that kid, when he's like 2, 3 years old, you can put him in a room with some Spanish speakers, German speakers, whatever. And within a couple of weeks, that little kid will speak that language. How is that possible? He didn't go to any classes?
Because he has really at that point a clean slate, no belief system.
Mm-hmm.
No, because beliefs hold us down, and we, thank goodness, we're leaving the age of Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
the house of believe, and we're going into the house of I know. And that's where we're at now. I think that's why a lot of us feel so much tug and pull lately, because we are 1 foot in the old world of Pisces and 1 foot going into the new world of Aquarius. And it's an awkward time. It's not a bad time, just a little awkward, so.
Don't you feel special? You and me, we are the bus drivers of the I know
Crowd.
age.
Yes. No, it's true. And that is part of my channel. It's like beliefs can have a lot of lies in them. We have seen that, the religions ruled the last 2,000 years, and now we're seeing science rule probably Aquarius, and we're trying to straighten that out right at the gate, because science has been pretty corrupted lately, but I think it's part of the I think it is in humans part of the process, like you said, we've got 46% negativity. Kind of let's shake the house a little bit and get that out of there. And if you want to run with I know science, which Aquarius rules, we got to again start with a clean slate and get rid of those old beliefs.
Get rid of the old beliefs, and that is really hard.
It is.
I was going to talk a little bit about oil and how it's dying. This is one of those simple little beliefs, and until you get older, and people probably still do, oh, it's fossil fuel, it came from the dinosaurs. Well, you know what? I work in the oil. We pump out 1 million barrels in North Dakota alone, 1 million barrels of oil a day. Okay. In Saudi Arabia, I think they pump out like 10 million barrels. And the US uses 10 million barrels a day or something like that. A day. You know how big a lake you could fill up with 10 million barrels of oil?
Oh, yeah. Oceans.
Yeah. And we use that every day. And I'm thinking, okay, that was a lot of dinosaurs. Like every dinosaur that lived on the planet for billion years, put in bunches of different holes, covered up. Oh yeah, well, that doesn't happen because when logic says and science tells us that when an animal dies, what happens to it? It rots. Other animals eat it. Nothing's
That's
wasted.
Right.
The bones break down into minerals. The water evaporates into the air. Other animals eat parts of it, and then the little bit of fat and stuff that is there, it just
all goes to the ants.
Yeah, the ants get it, absorbs under the ground, melts away, whatever. It would take billions and billions and billions and billions of dinosaurs to create all that oil, and then the ground would be squishy or something. I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense. It didn't come from dinosaurs, people. Trust me, It didn't come from dinosaurs.
I know, but there again, that was one of those Darwinian type of, let's just label this, fossil fuels, because we're digging in the ground, and they'll believe us.
Yeah, we'll label it fossil.
And we do.
And then we'll tell them it's running out. It's running out, people. It's running out. The dinosaurs are almost all used up. What? What do you mean the dinosaurs are almost used up? Oh, we can't recreate next thing it'll be, we're going to have to recreate dinosaurs so they can die and then create more oil. Jurassic Park, that's what it's all for.
Oh, it's unbelievable the angles they come upon here. It's just crazy.
I mean, they think we're so stupid that we'll believe anything.
And see, that's it, Robert. The majority do. I could sell you a bridge in Alaska. Just give me a minute.
I went to a selling class on how to sell some grape juice stuff that was supposed to improve your life, right? And man, did they have that down pat. You had to pay $25 to get into the thing where I took a bunch of notes, and it was all about, how does this product make you wealthier? How does it make you healthier? And how does it improve your life every other way after that? And you will buy it.
Yep.
So if you want to sell something, you just make sure that, well, you're going to spend $1 million on it, but you know what? In time, you'll get $2 or $3 million back. Or you're going to buy this product, and you know what? In some cases, it helps reverse old age, and you will, live a long time and not get old. But you know what? Everybody gets old and everybody dies. There's not one person here that hasn't. I mean, some of them have died and came back, but most people have died and they ain't come back. They're dead. They're not coming back. They're not going to get up and say, or they're not going to say, I've been around for 10,000 years because I drank this stuff.
Yeah. No, I know.
Nobody escapes it.
Well, that's it. That's, the competitive consumerism. They get us right there, and a lot of people do. They buy all of this hook, line, and sinker, and that's part of my premise is to just, think for yourself and question things now. When they tell you something is going on, even in current news, politics, science, your everyday whatnots, please question, because the more we get people questioning and standing up and pointing at the emperor's new clothes here, the quicker we can move on. And I think that's the shakeup I think Aquarius is giving us right now. We're shaking us up. Come on, let's move on now. Shed that 46% negativity and, crappy goals, crappy objectives that we've all surrounded ourselves with.
Yeah.
And I think,
I think that you're right on. I know Christy Schaefer is saying something about needless, useless humans, but Christy Schaefer, I got a question for you. And we were talking about this earlier. Are there people out there that are there to take up space without a soul, that are walking around doing things that are soulless?
Yeah,
good
just
question. I would love to know that. I would like, placeholders. I know some people aren't. I mean, but there's other people. I talked to a guy a couple days ago, and I know this guy really well, but I asked him a question and he just stopped. Like, somebody hit the stop record button or the stop play button. And he's like, and he says,
yeah,
I never thought of that. And then no matter how many times I asked him that question, he just looped back to something else, like the tape just skipped. And I'm thinking, I'm talking to a wall. This is my buddy. I know him well. And all of a sudden, every time I ask him something, it just looped back to where he started. Like, never thought of that. That'll never happen. Well, what do you think? If you had to do that, what do you think would happen? I never thought of that, but that'll never happen. Don't worry about it. Like, what? Are you brainwashed or something? I says, Are you an idiot? I says, are you an idiot? And then the phone went dead. I thought, something's wrong.
Just low level living. It's strange. I've come across many people like that. There's no depth to them. And I wondered, well, are they new souls or are they blank? Are they just put here to be in our lives? I don't know. I was just a thought. I mean, there could really be 8 billion souls here, people. I don't know, but some act like they're just nobody's home.
Yeah. Well, Christy Schaefer has an answer. Grandpa Brian has got to go to bed. Have a wonderful night. Grandpa Brian, thank you for
Oh,
coming. But we've
thank
gained.
you. I got to talk to you, Brian. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead. I'm glad he came. Book 33 is here. I haven't seen book 33. Thank you for coming. Nina the Mystic is here to join us. Thank you, Nina. She had a great show on the other night. And guess what? This is October, and we're going to do all kinds of Halloween stuff.
Nice.
And probably have some good contests or shows together or something, because who doesn't love? Hey, I ordered a wizard suit and a wizard hat.
That's right. You need your wand, your Hollywood stick.
Oh, Grandpa Brian, tell Trina I said hi, hello, and good day. I hope she's having lots of fun. Okay, back to Christy Schaefer. She says she's got an answer for us. You know, a lot of times she's always saying this or that or the other, but she's got a great answer. Everyone has a soul. They choose not to use it for the greater good. Their answer why be bad is because it's easier. Laziness is what you call soulless. That's a very good thought. That
Possibly. Like I said,
is.
very, very possible. I don't know. You know, yeah, okay, we'll call him low-level soul moving.
Yeah. Well, I get the laziness. I get the laziness. You got a soul, but you're lazy to use it, I guess.
Are you I have to ask this, are you more apt to have to come back another life because of the 7 deadly sins of sloth, envy, you know, etc. You know, if you got too many of those on your report card, you come back, you know.
Yes, yeah. And you know, that's the thing. If you come here, if there is let's see, you know, if you get to come back past lives and stuff like that, you know, if that is true, I don't know if you believe that or not.
Yeah, I
if
do.
you do, okay. And I'm getting to the point I do a lot, because the thing is so you come here and you have a purpose, you have a goal, you have a mission. And I thought about this a long time ago, and it's all the other animals in the world. And this is how I can prove that we come back again and again, because on the other side, we know each other, for instance, right? And when you get here, like other animals, any other animal, when it's about to die or something is happening, the other animals don't go, oh, we'll bring you food, we'll bring you water, we'll help you to the shelter, we'll do something, extend your life. Nope, it's like, oh, you're done, I'm moving on. You know, I'm taking care of me, and that's it. You know, I'm not going to help you live any longer than you have to, right? If you feel like you're not doing good, you just die. But as a human, we try to prolong every single person's life as long as they possibly can. And the only reason I can see for that is that we know coming here that there's a mission, there's a purpose. And in order to fill our purpose, our mission is to live long enough to fulfill that mission. So every second you're here longer means that's extra time to learn, experience, and fulfill that mission.
It's interesting. So we have that built-in drive to be here as long as possible to achieve something.
Achieve something, yeah.
Yeah.
And every second that we're here, we have the ability to achieve that. It's just that once life ends, you can't. And I think it's built in us knowing that, you know, that's the one thing we get to carry through from one side to the other, is knowing that we have a mission and we have to live, or we have to be around long enough to like, you know, we're in the prison and we have to escape. And the longer you live, you might figure out the answer. So live as long as you possibly can, because when you get to that point, you might escape.
Yeah, no, because animals live on just the primals, you know, you know, just food, sex, pooping, and moving on. You know,
they don't need all their learning is built in. Sure, that your dog has compassion, it loves you, it learns things, etc. But you know, it doesn't how should I say, it doesn't if the other dog is sick, it just barks at it and won't let it eat food because it's saying, yeah, this is my food. You're going to die anyway. It doesn't say, okay, I'm going to move over. You eat as much as you can because you're old and you're sick.
Yeah.
It just says,
there's the compassion isn't as at our level. No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I have to say, Robert, I've had a great evening with you. Boy, we could go on for hours.
I know we're going on an hour and a half and getting long in the tooth. I want to say thanks for Book 33. He says, I summarized that 1 out of 10 are awake. The rest are fillers, so to speak. And that's probably true.
Some way, somehow. Yeah.
We are all wide awake. I know we are. But thank you again for coming. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Grandpa Brian, Trina, and Mary send their love. Oh, that's so nice. Let's see, sloth. Sometimes it's good to rest. Envy is good to appreciate others. Gluttony, sometimes you're just hungry. That's Lucky Smith. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gaza Cav, Elderberry, and thank you, everybody that's spending time at Grandpa Brian's for the gathering. I wish I could be there, but I got to work. And thank you, Smokin in G Sharp. Thank you for coming on. I hope to have you back on, and maybe I'll maybe sometime join you on your show.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes,
it would be great. It'll be great. Now, remember, everybody, go out, do something nice for somebody. Share your knowledge. If they want it or not, just pour it out, and maybe it'll spark something in somebody. They don't have to accept your truth. You just have to put your truth out there, and then let them know that you stand by your truth. That's what counts. Maybe you'll make a friend. Do something nice for your neighbor. Wave. Smile, just smile. That's all you got to do. Say something nice to them. And remember, go out and be the frequency you want to receive. I love you, everybody. Thanks for coming. See you next time. And there we go. Another show in the bag. Woohoo!